Hey, it's Jill Broadbent with Close to My Heart, and we are so happy to be joining you at your Crop and Create Delivered event. We are so happy that Catherine invited us to be a part of this event. How often do we make beautiful scrapbook pages and we put on all this detail in embellishments in these amazing photos, and then we just don't get around to telling the story, or we give a really basic story like today we went to the pumpkin patch. We want to make sure that those stories are told and elevated and documented so that that becomes such a part of the legacy that you leave. And we feel so passionately about this, which is why we've partnered with Stacy to create the Story by Stacy line available at Close to My Heart. So in your packet, for everyone who participated in this event, you received the Story FYI stamp set. This is a stamp set designed by Stacy to help you tell your story and make it really fun in the process. So let's take a look at the stamp set that you received. So in the next little bit, I want to show you the stamp set, how to use it most effectively. Then I'm going to show you all the different products that we have with Stacy so you can see the different options for telling your story. And then I'm going to end by showing you the most amazing artwork that will hopefully inspire you in the creative realm as well as how the stories are told on those pages. So stay tuned for all of those things in the next few minutes that we share together. So this is your stamp set that you received by being a part of Crop and Create. And so you can see there's lots of fun, just bold graphic titles and kind of designed to be story prompts to help you as you tell your stories. So whenever you have a Close to My Heart stamp set, if this is your first time receiving a stamp set from our company, you can see they always come in this exact size, a 6x6 envelope. So even if it's an A size, which is a little smaller stamp, we still always send them and store them in these stamp envelopes so that you can organize them and categorize them perfectly, and they're always just perfect for your organization. So when you open them, you'll find that you've got your stamp carrier sheet, which you're probably used to having in any acrylic stamp set you might receive. And you also have this piece of foam. Well, the foam is a very important element of your stamping, and it comes in every stamp set you receive from Close to My Heart. And that is because we know that to get the best and cleanest impression in your stamping, you need something with a little bit of give to it to help that ink press into the paper and really absorb that color and get the cleanest, most impressed stamp as you go about stamping. So that's what the foam is in all of your stamp sets. It's definitely a tool that we love to use in our stamping. So here you've got your stamp set. There's two things I want to show you just to help you have the best experience with your stamps. So when you're using a stamp like this, like let's pull off For Your Information, and sometimes these are border stamps. You might have, a 6-inch border stamp that's kind of wiggly, or, a little icon or something that is really bendable and pliable because it's such a small, skinny stamp. Anytime I'm working with a skinnier stamp, I like to lay it down, stamp side down, so as if I were stamping it. And then I'll take my acrylic block and I'll pick up the stamp to load it onto my block. That way it's straight every time, because when you drop the stamp down and lay it straight, it falls into place the way it's designed. But sometimes when you are trying to line one up and you're putting it on the block, it's easy to get it to turn or wiggle. And so anytime you're using a long, skinny stamp, just drop it straight down and then pick it up with your block, and you'll have the best experience and get a really nice straight line every time. So that's one thing that I thought might just be helpful information. And then you can put those back on your carrier sheet. The next thing is the importance of seasoning a new stamp. And this is with all acrylic stamps. So let's use this FYI stamp because it's a nice solid image. So if I were to put this on my block and then go to stamp it without seasoning, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is straight out of the package. And we are going to just grab some cardstock, ink this stamp up, and stamp it down. Okay, not bad. You can see we've got some stamping going on, but that's not an ideal image. And so what we should do when a stamp is brand new is season that stamp. And there's a few ways to do that. I'm going to clean this off before I go to season it. So you can see the difference for sure. So there's a few different ways to season a stamp. You can stamp it multiple times on a scratch piece of paper, or you can season it by rubbing it with an eraser, or what I simply do, because I've always got my hand or my arm available, is just simply rub it over my skin just lightly, enough that the oils from my skin are seasoning that stamp. So you can feel the difference. If you go back to this stamp set and you tap one that's not seasoned, that's brand new, you can see I can pick up the entire set because it's tacky and sticks to my skin. But once it's seasoned, you should not have any tackiness, and you should have a nice smooth surface that doesn't stick to anything. That's how you know your stamp is seasoned. And again, this is true with any acrylic stamps. Because the manufacturing process just leaves a little bit of that tackiness on your stamps. So then once it's seasoned, we'll do a side-by-side comparison here. Then you can ink this up. Again, the beauty of a good clear block and acrylic stamp is being able to see how well you've inked it up, your nice coverage. And then when I go to stamp this down, you can see I get a much more solid stamped image. I don't have all those little spots. You're going to get a really, really clear, crisp impression when your stamp is seasoned. So especially in these solid images where you've got a lot of ink coverage, you always want to season your stamps. So hopefully those tips are helpful for you, and you'll have a really good experience using this or any of your stamps that you might have in the future by knowing just these few simple tips. So I hope you have a really good time playing with this stamp and putting it to good use in your album and on scrapbook pages, because that's what it's designed to do, to help you tell your story and to give you a little design element to play into those pages. So enjoy that. Next, I'm going to show you the Story by Stacy line. So let's take a look at the products that we've developed with Stacy at Close to My Heart. So it is a 4-step program, basically, is how we like to talk about it. And the first one is to do the Story Starter. So this is our Story Starter program. It always comes with a 4x4 album. So we've got this fun blue heart, we've got this fun floral, and your sheet protectors are 4x4 already sewn into the book. It's a nice, beautiful quality. And then you receive a lot of these journaling cards. Okay, you can see there's journaling lines on one side and plain on the back sides. So you've got multiple options there. So you've got enough journaling cards to tell your stories. Then the way that it is most effective to utilize these programs is through the workbook. So the workbooks are going to walk you through Stacy's program. It's basically if Stacy were in your living room helping you to tell your story. And so it's going to give you step-by-step processes to help you tell your story in a better format. So you're going to start with listing some of the memories that you want to document. Okay, then you're going to organize those memories, and then you're going to walk through and write them out, and then you're going to edit and complete these cards and then assemble your album. But by reading all the different steps and tips that Stacy gives you, it helps you take your story just to that next level. It helps pull those memories that you have out and bring them to fruition in a more clear, concise way that really help your story come to life. So this is such a fun process. And again, it's called Story Starter. It's basically that jumping off point, that place to start telling your story. And once you learn the process of telling this story, the beautiful thing is you can absolutely use it in these 4x4 albums, but you can also just apply what you've learned to your journaling on your scrapbook pages all throughout your albums. And I'll show you some samples of that in just a minute. The second program is called Short Story. So this is a 6x6 program. And you can see we have it in a few fun different albums. So you have a fun lagoon, a stripe, and of course a gingham. That's classic Stacy. And what's fun about this one, and if you attended Crop and Create in person, I'm trying to remember what month and year it was. Catherine can probably remind us, but if you were there and were able to take this class from Stacy, she actually came to Canada and we were able to teach together, and she taught this class. And so some of you might have been there in person and experienced this, and I'd love for you to add to the comments section what your experience was. We did a 3-hour class, and in the 3 hours you cut down 100 photos and got them all documented. So that's a really fun process, and I know a lot of people who came to Crop and Create were able to experience that fun. So the album, or the program comes with the album. It also comes with the sheet protectors, the memory protectors you need. It comes with these really fun pattern papers that are totally colorful and really fun. You can see lots of vibrant colors, but very neutral, and it makes it so you can tell any story with these papers. Anything works with this collection, so that's really fun, and that's how we designed it to be really versatile. And so you can see lots of fun pattern papers. Then we've got a fun black and white gingham ribbon roll that comes with that, as well as black and white dots. And then you've got a lot of cardstock. You've got lots of 6x6 cardstock bases to build those pages on. We've got some stickers and some chipboard elements that pop out and embellish your pages, and an awesome alphabet sheet. So every time you get a short story kit, you receive all of those components. But the goal of short story, again, you've got a workbook here that will help you get your story going. You've got all the questions she asks, all the different ways she suggests cutting down photos, prepping your pages, and then you're going to build. You can do up to 100 photos in this album, and then you end with a one-page summary. So if this is an album about your child's year of school, or a birthday, or a holiday, or a vacation, you can write a summary page that ends this album and pulls everything together, but you've been able to document a lot of photos. So really fun process. Again, once you learn it, you can apply it anywhere in your storytelling. All right, the third program. This actually might be one of my favorites, even though it's a little bit different in that you don't scrapbook as much. This is called Stories I Love. It comes in a 6x8 format. And these are the fun insert cards. We've got a title page, and this page is the back. It says, "These pictures belong together only because I love them." And you've got some fun, really simple gray and white patterns of paper, and the back sides are white so that you can utilize that as well. And then you get a sheet of stickers. This is the holiday collection. This comes in the exact same sticker format, but in rainbow color when you don't need to be telling holiday specific stories. But this is a classic way to tell a lot of those traditions from the holidays, and so that's what this collection is. You can see some fun foil stickers as well. And what I love about this program is that it is meant to take a photo that speaks to you. We all have so many photos in our camera roll, and so often we want to document 100 of them, right? Because they are all special to us, but some of them sometimes will stop you in your tracks, and you'll remember the feeling behind that photo, or the emotion that it evokes, or the story that it tells, even though it's a really simple photo. So like on this workbook, you can see there's a picture. This is Stacy's son and just a man at the airport. Kind of a random photo if you don't hear Stacy's story that she tells of how this speaks to her son's character. And it's amazing when you stop to tell the story that you see when looking at a specific photo. Even if it's a blurry photo, even if it's the only photo you ever have of one specific person or place in your life, that you can stop and tell the story. And so even though there's not a ton of scrapbooking that happens in this collection, you can see that's what the stickers are for, to add some detail. They're made to just do 4x6 photos, but you could do larger or smaller. And then you journal on the page next to it. And this workbook, again, helps you to tell that story. And you can see it gives you layers of your storytelling. So you're going to take the photo, you're going to say what the details were, what's happening in the photo, what makes this photo special, how do you feel? And you can see you've got this worksheet that you can go through on multiple photos and work through that process to help you really draft your story and tell the story that's in your heart when you look at these special photos. So it's a really fun process. And when these books are finished, they are treasures. This is an album that I've done for the holidays and also done one just for my family and my favorite photos. And again, they're a collection of photos over your lifetime, but they're the photos that if at the end of the day you had just a few, these are the stories that you've told that you really want to document. And so it's an amazing experience to process through the Stories I Love worksheet and finish this album. It becomes quite the treasure. Okay, the last program is actually called Extended Story, and this isn't the program. This is a how-to program that puts it all together. Extended Story is a collection of different sheet protectors in different sizes so that you can tell a story that doesn't fit on just a 12 by 12 spread, that you can add extended stories. It might be that you have photos of your children doing something that you did with your grandparents, and you can pull those photos together. It's a way to tell a story that's larger than one instance. So that is the fourth program. And then we created this amazing book with Stacy that walks you through the ideas of all the different programs and how you can pull that all together and learn about everything and see art examples of ways to make those happen. So you can see the connected story, the extended story, and these are some samples of those different sheet protectors and ways that your story can grow and how you can pull all the different details together. It's just a really fun process. So this is an awesome how-to book. If you like to have inspiration and direction, then this book is awesome for helping you do that. So 4 amazing programs with Stacy. We are so excited to share those with you so that you might be able to learn something. It's just a little different than what you might experience in your traditional scrapbooking. But I promise, because I've experienced going through this entire process with Stacy, I have stepped up my journaling. I always thought I was a decent storyteller, but I feel like my process has gotten better and the stories I tell are even more meaningful and they'll matter for a lot longer because I'm adding the right details. And I've learned that through taking all 4 of these classes and experiencing these processes and creating the programs. Plus I have gorgeous finished albums at the end of it. So let me show you some artwork that really showcases these programs. All right, the first one I'm going to show you is just a couple pages that create that Stories I Love, or the short story process. So you can see these are the papers and the embellishments that come in that collection and the way that we've cut down the different photos and then done a summary page at the end. So this was in a whole collection. You'd be able to utilize all those different papers and then write your story at the end and make a full 6x6 album. But those are the papers and the photos cut down in a way that really shows the true process for short story. Now this is a cute one right here, and this is a story starter. So again, the Story Starter program is the 4x4 album, but once you've learned that process, you can apply it here. And this is actually one of the 4x4 cards that came in the kit. We've used another one of Stacy's stamp sets to help embellish this. It has the story. We have a stamp that does this fun wash of a background on the cards. And it's in a flip flap, which is a fun additional way to tell more stories and add more photos. But you can see that we've taken the process of what we learned but applied it to a different page with a lot more product and fun embellishments. And we are able to take the storytelling experience and add it to our traditional scrapbook here. Okay, this one here is a beautiful 2-page spread. So again, traditional scrapbooking, but taking that process, and this is taking what I learned in Stories I Love and applying it to a scrapbook page. So here's the photo that I love, and here's the story that was told here. And what's really fun is just a fun detail of when you've done the storytelling, this has been typed, to go through and add the detail. Let me do it on the close-up camera. We can see this a little better here. Look at that. Isn't that a fun way to do your journaling? And to highlight it with just some watercolor paint or a simple marker or something to make the important words really pop out. So you can see all the things that are really important. And we end with, I love this photo because, and give that detail. I mean, you can't ignore all the other beautiful details happening on the scrapbook page with stamping, with embellishing, with a double layered title, this beautiful die cut, scallops. I mean, so much going on this beautiful 2-page spread. But at the end of the day, we've captured this photo and this amazing story that really helps to express how you feel about a certain person or experience in your life. Okay, let's look at the next one. And this is, again, Stories I Love. So the concept that we learned in that program, but applied to a small 6x6 page. So let's take a look at this so you can see some of the detail. So the story that I love is here on this page, with this being the photo that helps to tell that story. So you've given all the detail, but again, we've done it in a fun scrapbook way. We've added lots of paper and embellishment and some bling, but the process and experience of getting the journaling out came from the Stories I Love program. Okay, another stories I love on a 12 by 12 page. How beautiful is this page? So again, here we have a photo from a memory, a moment in time, right? It's a candid photo, obviously on a wedding day, but you can see the love that is taking place in this photo, and that's what's been journaled here. Taking through the process that Stacy teaches us about getting our words out and our feelings out and writing through that experience, but applying it to the most beautiful scrapbook page. So here we've got a lot of different stamped pieces that are then die cut and added as embellishment to the page. We've got a just simple stamped title, some twine, some pearls, and more stamping to really make this just a gorgeous scrapbook page with the story and the focus, or the story and the photo as our focus. Okay, the next one is short story. So again, we went through the process of taking a bunch of photos and making a 6x6 album, but what we learned about kind of the synopsis of a story we used here. So this is a layout that our friend did of her grandmother and the story of who her grandmother is to her and what she means. So instead of just saying, here's my grandma in a tire swing and here's my grandma at age 12, she went through and documented her feelings and her experiences of this woman and why she's so important to her. And that's what's told here on the journaling. So learning how to tell a complete story and using photos to help you get there, even if the photos don't represent the exact details that you're talking about. I also love this page because we've added some fun texture paste, we've done some stenciling and some stamping, layered up die cuts, so many fun, creative details, but again, focusing on that story and those photos. Okay, this is Stories I Love in the 6x8 size. Again, taking the photo, doing the story, and keeping it pretty simple, but there's some fun details going on here. You can see we've done some embossing folders right up there. We've used Stacy's stickers to kind of spell out names. We've done some little die cutting, added some more of Stacy's stickers and embellishments there, using some of Stacy's stamps as well. And we've got a photo and a lot of journaling as to why this is such a special story in our lives. A couple more for you. This one is Story Starter. So the very first program, the thing we learned at the very beginning about how to take our story and just add to it and make it into something a little more detailed, a little more robust in what those details that we're sharing are. So here's a beautiful photo of the Oregon coast and why we love this place. What are the feelings that this photo brings out? We've done some really fun stamp layers of some shells, beautiful die cut title, some stamping on the overlapping the photo, which I think is a really fun idea. We've got an extra layer behind there to really just bring that all together. And then look at these fun scalloped borders. Such a fun detail layered up to really accent that photo. Okay, here's a story starter. Again, that simple first program. But I love this because this is taking the time to document some of those things like our favorite sneakers, our favorite hat, our photography and our books, the things that really matter to us that kind of tell who we are. And so in each of these categories in this pocket page, we were able to stop and take the photo that you might not take on a normal day because you want to tell the story. I'm a sneakers kind of girl. They're simple, practical, and fun. I've worn Converse my entire life. I probably had a pair in every color, but these are particularly special because sunflowers are my favorite flower. What did you learn about this person just by reading that little paragraph and seeing this one photo? It's an awesome way to document who you are. This one is all about things, right? We took the things that matter to us and told the story behind them. So done in a pocket page is another simple way to tell these kind of stories. Okay, this is Stories I Love as well, done in a pocket format. So this is a really cool idea though for inspiration, is taking that photo and sizing it to a larger size so that you can fill up multiple pockets on your page is a really just eye-catching way to utilize these pocket pages. Then we've done a little title square with some fun embellishment and broken up the story from Stories I Love into these 3 other pockets. But visually, I think this is a beautiful way to document a story. And the last one I want to show you is this layout right here. Oops, I've got it right here. And this is short story as well. So that 6x6 concept, but brought into a little layout here. Let's see, there it is. Can you get that whole, there we go. We've got the whole double spread on camera right there. And we've done this fun die cut title that says, "This is Us." And here is the little known fact, which came from your little stamp set that you have here. So I wanted you to see that in action, how we can take this stamp set and use it as part of the details of the stories that we're telling. And so here we've got the little known fact and then all the content that we wanted to tell about this process and these photos. And obviously, when you've got a lot of photos like this, which is from the short story concept, you're able to synopsize that entire feeling into one little area of journaling, but pulling out, by going through this workbook, you're pulling out those important key elements of what you need to document in the story. So I hope you've loved seeing all of this artwork. I hope you've enjoyed seeing creativity in action, but also storytelling in action. We just feel it is so important that when all is said and done, that the photos and the stories that we leave behind are going to be the most meaningful. We love the creative process. We love getting our hands inky, as mine are very much today, and being able to play with paper and stamps and embellishments. It's our favorite thing. But honestly, they are the addition to the stories and the photos. And when we start with those and when we learn how to best do that process by learning how to take those stories that are inside of us, we all have them, we've all experienced them, but how to express them, how to get them out, and how to tell them within our scrapbook pages, it just elevates the treasure that these scrapbooks are to our posterity. And so we hope that you will have a great experience at Crop and Create, and that you'll come back and visit closetomyheart.com and check out Stacy's line of products that might help you in your process of telling your stories and make you an even better storyteller to complement that beautiful scrapbook that you create. Thanks for joining us today. Have so much fun this weekend.